Gentlemen, how's it going? Today we are looking and ranking at each of the legendary items in the DLC for Psychic Creed's Fustercluck. So before you go thinking that I just put whatever item in whatever random order, I did actually set up some parameters for judging. I have different variables, different guidelines for what um, each weapon or item will need to fit in order for it to move up in ranking or move down in ranking. And that does actually affect things later on, especially with the class mods. Just as a little pre-spoiler alert there. There's over 3 pages worth of notes that I have written for just these 11 items. So again, I did put some research into it, and let's get into things. Coming in at number 11, the worst spot would be the Rebound. I want to start by saying that this list is my list, my choices, my opinions. Yours will be different unless you have good taste, in which case yours will be exactly the same. Again, the final weapon is the Rebound. It's a pain in the butt to farm. Thankfully though, it is a world drop, since Psych Reaver seems to have very poor drops. It can come in any element, which is good, and it shoots at blades, which is cool. The bounce twice do explosions. Unfortunately, that's as cool as it gets. It's a child of the ball weapon. It's not going to be good for bosses, not really for mobbing, not for takedowns. It is the worst of the worst. It's not going to hinder your gameplay. It's just not going to really be something that is useful to use. Number 10 will be the Blind Sage. It's a unique gun. You shoot an enemy and then you shoot them again to do a echo damage. 2 orbs come out, they do elemental effects. That's fun, that's cool and all. However, in order to have this actually work proper, you have to charge up a gun, shoot an enemy, charge up again, shoot an enemy again. And hopefully that kills them, otherwise you have to go until it properly works. And so basically it's just like a regular Malawan shotgun with a little added perk. So not really something I wholeheartedly recommend. It's weak. There's better shotguns out there like the Hyperion and Jacobs. They shoot faster, they do so much more damage. You'll be able to one-shot enemies, whereas with this one, you're more so hoping that you don't one-shot enemies, which is good because it's Malawan and you won't be doing so. Not good for bosses, not good for takedowns, maybe okay for mobbing. Comes in 5 elements though, and you get 2 at a time. At number 9, we have the Separator Prime. Now this is mediocrely strong and a fast firing shotgun, great for ricochet builds and quick damage to enemies. That's about it. It's not even like the best sniper rifle for like pellet damage and crit hits. It's not the fastest firing gun either. And so, you know what you really don't want on a sniper? Fast ammo consumption, weak. Not necessarily weak, but not super strong. And that's what this gun is. It's not going to be good really for mobbing, not going to be good for takedowns, not really good for bosses either. It does drop from the Mordecai and Brick area, so you do have a faster chance at farming it. And you can get it early into the DLC 4, but another big con with the snipers is that they're not good in Borderlands 3, so it's not going to be something you'll want to use anyway. It's an okay gun, just wrong game. Coming in at number 8 is the lovable Rouge. There are better ARs and there's better sticky weapons. This gun, with the sticky, when you fire at an enemy, it'll paint them, and then the explosions will go off after a short period of time. Not something that you control when they go off unless you switch weapons with only a few on them. So it's not really going to be something that's super good to have. And then on top of that, you don't want to be just painting enemies and having little tiny explosions go off while they're still shooting you, especially with an assault rifle. So this might be good if they do have a shield and that's strictly it, but it's not something that you should really go around carrying. It is okay for mobbing, for again bosses with shields, but not going to be much more useful than that. It is AAR, so it will have a higher ammo count, which will help out in the end. Number 7 will be the class mods. Going from best to worst, backwards order, will be Moe's, since their class mod gives double damage whenever the Iron Bear is out, and it's at full gas capacity, and then slowly goes down as the gas goes down. That's going to be the best. Uh, the mod for Zane is kind of nifty, but it does really take away from his action skills in order to give a little bit of a damage boost, which isn't very helpful. So it's not bad, it's just not really good for how his builds typically are. With Amara, I'm actually making a build with her current mod now, but besides that particular one, it's not really something I'd recommend. You can make a similar build of her action skill with the skill tree, and so not really something that is super useful, especially considering she has other cool skills she can focus on. And then in Dead Last will be Flax, where you're restricted to rack attack, and the only cool thing it does is it has a chance to drop an extra grenade, and there's a cooldown, so it won't happen every time. They're further down on the list than some of the other weapons. Most of this class mod is at the top for the bonus damage and being straightforward, while Flax is totally last, and it actually lowered the ranking of the class mods as a whole. And coming in at number 6 will be the Major Kong. It's not at the bottom simply because it does a heavy damage, and the damage it is able to do. And while the other guns on this list may run out of ammo fast, which this will as well, the simple fact that this is easier to keep in reserve, do the higher damage, it's going to be something you can use against like badasses, heavies, bosses. It'll come in handy for takedowns, come in handy for, again, bosses. But it won't be for a constant use, so you will be really limited in what you are doing with it. It's not better than like the Pipe Bearer or the Back Burner, and it only drops specifically from the Psycho Reaver as an exclusive, and the Psycho Reaver has very terrible drop rates anyways. The fight will have an immunity phase in it, and it's not even like a cool one like the Evil Lilith fight, so that's why it's smack dab in the middle. Not great, not bad, just coming in at number 5 is the Bloodstarved Beast. This SMG is bright, it's shiny, it's new. That doesn't mean it's good. It shoots fast, however, it will consume ammo like no one's business, and it's not even like a Theodore weapon. The damage is mid-range, the capabilities are mid-range, the viability is mid-range. For all purposes, it's a mid-range gun. I got mine from a world drop, but it has a dedicated loot pool as well from Evil Lilith. There is a immunity phase in your fight, so it can take some time to drop, and it's a low drop anyways. I was doing Mayhem 10 farming, and it took around 20 odd bites in order to get it. Bosses and takedowns, this probably won't be the place to be using this particular gun. Not that it won't help you, it's just that there are actually so many other better SMGs that will do a better job. However, if you want to have a basic mediocre gun, this will be it. Number 4 will be the Convergence. The shotgun is beefy and fires fast, and adds a lot of extra projectiles that damage the enemies when you hit them. It is limited to a shotgun, which does have a slower firing rate, but it's good for mobbing. It does start to have some weakness with like takedowns. It's not really going to be the best thing to be using for bosses, but the elemental bonus to it will help a lot, and it's great for ricochet builds. It's almost like a reflex replacer. However, it is outweighed by the Hellwalker. A lot of the shotguns will be outweighed by the Hellwalker. It is aesthetically pleasing when you do land hits, but visually there isn't anything else to write home about. Because the weapon is versatile, it's a mediocre gun. It does mediocre at everything it does. That's why it does rank higher than some of other weapons, even though it's not like a great gun. It's not a bad gun, and just about anyone can use it with any build and any class type. Coming in at third is the shields. It was actually hard to choose which one was better, as they each have their own pros and cons. However, the Faulty Star does rank first, and then the Ultra Plus. The Faulty Star, enemies take Nova damage potentially while they damage you. That's going to be great for later mayhems, for bosses, takedowns, mobbing, anything like that, as you can get modifiers that do elemental stream damage to you, and thus making it so that you don't have to fire any shots. You can check out my video on this already, and they take damage, and they'll be super easy to use. However, the Ultra Star, the Ultra Plus, does create novas on shield break and it has a better chance to absorb ammo, has a chance to cool down your action skill. So they both do have pluses, both do have cons, and they're going to be super versatile. They're really great shields. It's just one is just slightly better than the other. Coming in at lucky number 2 is the PAT MK3. This weapon is a very strong Theodore SMG. It has a lot of tweaks compared to a normal Theodore weapon, such as when you throw your gun, doesn't matter how much ammo is in the clip, it will always do the same amount of damage, unlike other Theodore weapons. And then you can have up to 6 sentries when you do throw the weapon at the ground. At the end of the cliff, still jump into an enemy doing the same amount of that thrown damage. It's super good. It will chew through your ammo, so it does get hindered a bit, but it's a very strong weapon. It'll help you with just about anything, and it does come in different elementals, so whatever situation you may need it for, this will be something that you are able to use. And coming in at number 1 is the Prompt Critical. It is strong, it's a pistol, so it holds a lot of ammo. It doesn't fire slow, you're just not going to consume ammo super fast. And the sticky mode on it makes it so that when you paint enemies with the stickies and then you reload, the more stickies that are placed on the enemy, the bigger the explosion damage. So this will be something that you can use for bosses, for mobbing, for takedowns, true takedowns, anything like that. It's not the best gun you can get out there, and there are cons that do come with it. I do want to make that clear. Like there's a chance your gun can consume 2 ammo and put out the same 3 stickies per shot. That's not something that you want. However, this will be great for explosion builds, splash builds. It's high damage. It's a common drop that I've seen. It's super versatile for each of the characters. I personally enjoyed using the weapon, and that's why it comes on top on the DLC 4 items. Anyway, so that is ranked 11 to 1, worst to best. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time.